Hello, this is Becca from Willow Hill Designs. Welcome to my usual subscribers and also to the new ones. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey. Today I'll be sharing the completion of our Eco Bundle and the Retrieval, and this is the portion that was buried. This is where our little prompt for that week began, and I think that was week 12. Yes, week 12. And the prompt was to stitch something, and the theme behind it was, if you love something, you will set it free. And then, of course, if it's yours, it will come back to you, and if not, it was never meant to be. And I'm not sure if that's from Jonathan Livingston Seagull or not, but this was the very beginning. So we stitched that portion, and I did this as a little book, and I used 2 pieces of fabric here and just kind of like a signature, and I just tacked or couched some fiber down and tried to make it look like a branch because our little bundle was going into nature. Excuse me. And so this is the portion of the Eco Bundle that went in the earth. And I'll just fold this back so that you can see this a little bit better. So this is what was buried. And I buried this in the ground behind my gazebo. This was done just as the first portion was done, so that it's like a little signature, like a little book signature. So I took this piece of fabric and put this little Eco Bundle on top of it. This bundle was, when it was retrieved, it was washed in some Dawn. I used that, which is a biodegradable detergent. And then after I washed it, I put it in baking soda and water to neutralize the acid, because it was bundled with juniper branches, hemlock, and honeysuckle leaves, which are evergreen leaves. And so after it was cleaned and dried, I decided to press it because, I don't know, I just felt like there might be some microbes still remaining in the fabric. And so I pressed it with the iron, and it gave off a very strong smell of mushroom, kind of like when you're sauteing mushrooms, very distinctly, that smell. So I felt like maybe there was fungus in the fabric in some way, just because it's in the earth where it was dark and it's moist from the rain and snow. And so I didn't care for that smell at all. Just didn't like it. So I took some of this. This is an aromatherapy that you can spray on your pillows or whatever, if you'd like to, for sleeping. And it's an essential oil, and it's lavender vanilla, and it has such a beautiful smell. So now my little Eco Bundle piece smells like lavender, and it's really very pretty. So what I did was I took this piece of fabric, and I put my Eco Bundle fabric on top of it and did an invisible stitch all the way around, securing it to the fabric backing. And then for these little pieces that were deteriorated, I stitched around those with a running stitch using a 50 weight thread of the same color as this backing, just to kind of secure those pieces, because it is very fragile, the fabric, even here along these edges. This is a little bit more deteriorated on this side than this side. There really doesn't seem to be any holes, other than along the edges there's some eating away of the fabric, but over here there were definite holes, and I'm wondering if that was because the honeysuckle leaves were on the inside along with a pine cone. There was a pine cone against this. and because they were fragile and you could feel that they were deteriorating somewhat, I wonder if that kind of spread to these portions here. It's kind of interesting. Um, and also on here, I put the little ties. I tore some strips of fabric and I just couched these little ties down on here, just to show what it was tied with. And these are very fragile. If you pulled on these in any way, they would break or just rip apart. They would really, there's no strength left to them. They've been very compromised. I think the whole piece has really been compromised. It's not, you couldn't really even tell that there were two pieces of fabric here. It seemed like one piece. They were almost melded together, or just didn't feel like two pieces of fabric. So after I invisible stitched this down, I decided to do a running stitch with pearl cotton ivory all the way around the edges, again to secure it, but to sort of give it a little bit of a decorative look. And then I did a few flowers on here, lazy daisy stitches with the same ivory pearl cotton, and some seed stitching to kind of represent the snow. I wanted to remember that there was snow that fell the very next day after I planted, I guess it's not really a seed, but excuse me, after I buried my little eco bundle. It snowed the very next day in April, which was kind of interesting and unusual for our area. I mean, we have gotten snow in April and in May, but it's unusual. So I did the seed stitching to kind of make me think of that. And it is interesting how this stitching stayed really nicely. Again, I'm not sure why. The pine cone was here. Maybe that's why. And this side, if it comes back, it's yours. If not, it wasn't meant to be, was on this side stitched with ivory thread, pearl cotton. And the bee has totally gone. That's totally disappeared. And some of the letters, I don't know if you can see them or not. Some of the letters, I can read part of meant to, and B would have been here. But that disintegrated, so I'm not quite sure why. I think that's kind of interesting. But it also took on the color of the background. Having done all of this stitching on here, you could see the stitches on the front of this little signature and also on the back of it. So I just took some fabric, took the same fabric, which has all different kind of a collage of designs on it, and I just tore a couple of pieces of that fabric, and I don't know if you can see it here, but there is another piece on top of this little booklet signature, and I just stitched that on with a running stitch with ivory 50 weight thread. You can kind of see the stitches here. So I just stitched those two pieces on to cover the backstory stitching from the inside. Same thing here. I tore another piece of fabric, and you might be able to see it here. There's a second piece of fabric covering those stitches from the seed stitch and the lazy daisy and the running stitches. And so I thought that gave it kind of a nice finish. This was a very interesting project. This was really an interesting little experiment. I thought my bundle, because we don't have a very wet area here at all, it's dry, I thought it would be all intact, just maybe discolored in some way, or the color changed. But this has definitely disintegrated in parts of it, and it's been compromised. The fabric has been compromised. You can tell that it's definitely not as strong. It's begun to break down. And because I love fabric, now this is the weird part. Because I love fabric, I feel very bad. I feel very bad for this little piece of fabric. I just feel very bad that it's not what it was, and it is compromised. It's weakened. It has disintegrated in spots, deteriorated. So I do feel very bad for this fabric. You can call me strange, but that's just how I feel. Can't help it. But I am glad that I did try this, and I am glad to have this little piece. I think it's very pretty. I don't know that I could have accomplished this with Inktense pencils or blocks, or even coffee and tea dyeing. It's just kind of interesting the way the colors turned out, and what is in the soil that made these different colors, the darker colors and these lighter patches here. I just find it all very interesting. But I don't think that I would do that again. I don't think I would put any of my fabric in the earth again, just knowing that that's what happens to it. And it's hardly usable, really. I think it would be more for display, because it really doesn't have much strength left to it. But again, I did enjoy this, and I am very happy. So it was meant to be, because this did come back to me, and a little animal didn't get it, or the insects, worms, bugs, or a little red poodle that lives here and loves to see what I'm up to when I'm planting things and likes to dig them up. So I'm very happy to have it here right next to the beginning, where this whole project was conceived. So, and the underlying theme, if you love something, you set it free, and if it's yours, if it comes back, it's yours. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I'm wishing you many blessings. See you in the next video. Bye for now.